Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. So this is my third attempt to make this video. The first attempt, Audie was screaming in the background the whole time. I got halfway through it and had to just get rid of the whole thing because you just couldn't pay attention with the cat screeches in the background. And of course I had to stop and let him out because he was not taking no for an answer. So then I sat down, I got my coffee, said we're going to get going with this, and then Audie needed to come back just as I started the second video. So I had to interrupt that. He's back in. He is now eating. He will be coming over to complain shortly because he never likes his dinner unless there's plenty of treats on it. And, well, speak of the devil, he never likes his dinner unless there's plenty of treats on it. And I did not put treats on his dish. So that's what he's here for. This is what a begging cat looks like. This is the don't you love me anymore, there are no treats in my dish. So we've got some Audie time. I was not expecting this. I really thought we'd have to do the video without him, that he would be outside. What can I say? All right, yellow. Right over here is the yellow. For Catherine, for Lex's mom, for everyone coping with cancer, we are sending you all of our very best wishes. Audie, are you sending good wishes too? Yes, he's purring. Audie's sending purrs. And by the way, I believe there are strong healing properties in cat purrs, well, especially Audie's. So when we come back, I am going to go put treats on his dish. So please do not flood the comment sections with notes telling me how mean I am to deprive my poor kitty of treats. I am going to give him a little more snuggle, put treats in his dish, and then he will be happy, won't you? Yes, you will. All right, we will be back and get started in a moment. Hey, do you want to go get treats? Come on, come on. So Audie is off happily munching his dinner. I did put the treats on it. The reason I didn't put them on before is, I don't know, well, just let me throw this out to you other cat slaves and see if it's the same in your house. If I put treats on his food and I do it too early, like he's sleeping and I put treats on his food, no, he has to be right at the dish. He has to watch me do it. Otherwise, the treats are no good. Once a cat treat has been sitting on his plate for more than about 30 seconds, he declares it inedible and I have to throw everything away. So he's happy now. He got his fresh cat treats. So what did I want to talk to you about today? I was going through my closet, in part because we are changing seasons. Now, around here, it's very sunny. I am used to, being further north, and we had 4 seasons. We would have, winter, spring, summer, fall. It's just the way it was. Here, we have winter and summer. And, I'm sorry, I should say South Central Pennsylvania. And we go from 30 degrees 2 weeks later to 80 degrees. And that's about it. It's about 2 weeks. And we'll do the same thing when December rolls around. We will go from 80 degrees to 30 degrees in the space of about 2 weeks. It's really annoying. I've talked to people who've lived their whole lives in this area, and they tell me, no, it wasn't always like this. But I'm not sure about that. I have a feeling we remember things differently. I know I do. I tend to remember much longer springs and much longer falls than we actually had. But I will say also, At least in New England, we had a spring. We had a fall. Around here, not so much. We kind of have a 2-week period of sort of weather insanity. Maybe it'll be freezing, maybe it'll be scorching. Your guess is as good as mine. And then at the end of that 2-week period, we are into one or the other. So, usually, knowing this, I will start a little earlier. I have about 2 weeks. By the beginning of April, I'm basically going to have most of my sweaters packed away. I do not remove my summer clothing from my closet in the winter. That's there because summer clothing is always going to be available. I'm always going to be using it. Why? Because it's mostly t-shirts, and you can wear t-shirts in the winter as a base layer, and that's what I do. So those things are always available to me. It's just that the heavier things, the heavier sweaters and the jackets, those are the things that need to go away for the summer. And I do pack them away. I'm not sure why. I tell myself it's to conserve closet space. I think the biggest thing with the sweaters is I want to take them off hangers and store them flat. And right now, in the winter, my sweaters are all stored on hangers in the closet. And I know I'm going to hear from some of you saying, "Oh, Sue, don't do that." Well, that's why I will be taking them out and storing them flat for the summer so they can regain their shape. But in the winter, they're all being worn all the time. Mostly because even if I'm not going out, even if I'm just in the house, I am probably wearing a sweater. So, yeah, there's no point in folding them away flat. Some sweaters, by the way, I do. Not my heavy outer sweaters, but my crew neck or V-neck, lighter weight, not outer layer sweaters, the sweaters that get worn, underneath the heavier sweater. Those do stay flat because they are thin and small, and they'll stack down like this. If I tried to do that with the bulky sweaters, this is the kind of space I would be taking up on a shelf. It would just be completely impractical. The small ones, yeah, they'll just squish down nicely. So, going through all of this now, I have noticed some gaps in my wardrobe, some things that I need to fill in. And by the way, I need to thank you all for this because you, our community, you gave me a very good heads up on 2 colors that I have recently just started throwing into my wardrobe left and right because of the versatility of those colors with my things. My issue mostly is that the biggest part of my wardrobe is brown, olive, and varying ranges of those colors. Yeah, dull as dirt, I know, but I like dull. And these are just very, Laura. Remember Laura, who likes nautical themed clothing? And she was the one who said, let's work in themes instead of other methods for choosing our styles. Yeah, we talked about her idea a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was great. Laura's nautical theme. She had said to me that I was more of a forest theme. I never thought of myself as a forest child. No, never thought of that. But she's right. Those are the colors, and which just shows you that her theme theory works out very well, even for people who don't think they have a theme. So those the browns and olive tones, that's my base. But I have black and navy too. And all right, yes, you can come back. And navy doesn't necessarily coordinate with the same colors that go well with brown or olive, meaning that I'm not going to ever get that perfect capsule wardrobe I want, with all of the trousers going with all of the shirts, going with all of the outer layer pieces. And I'm so disappointed because, you know, that is my ideal. That is the goal I was looking for. If I went into my closet and pulled out a pair of trousers, I wanted everything that I would be wearing with it to go well with those trousers. Yeah. I was definitely kidding myself on that one. Yes, all right. I love you. Can I put you down, please? Please? All right, fine. You can stay. He's dug his claws into me because he does not want to be put down. And he's purring his little cat brains out. So we're going to have to put up with him for a minute or two longer. Yes. Come on. All right. Do you want to say hello to everybody? Come on. Let go of. Yes, thank you. All right. You're a good boy. I love you, but I just don't want to film with you in my lap today. Where was I? Colors, yes. And the colors were not transitioning. So I was kind of keeping 2 sets of colors in my wardrobe. The brown and olive and the colors that go with them, and the black and navy and the colors that go with them. And you folks, oh, bless your hearts, came up with a couple of really great alternatives that I had not considered. Mustard. And you're right, mustard, and there are other ranges of yellow in there. I'm just saying mustard for the sake of giving it a catch-all name. Mustard, a range of brownish, yellowish, orangey yellow. Did I describe that properly? Yellow with bits of orange and brown in it. That's a color that will go very well with brown, with olive, with navy, and of course the black. Black is in my wardrobe because I have to keep black in my wardrobe. You really kind of do these days, or, you know, I don't know what to say. I would like to have a black-free wardrobe, but if I do, what am I going to do about shoes? I'm going to have to put black shoes in my wardrobe at some point. So I've kind of bent to the inevitable as far as black in my wardrobe. But anyway, mustard will go with all of those colors. Burgundy, if I get the right shade, again, will go with all of those colors. So that's what I have been looking at, you know, to fill the gaps. When I start thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great to get myself a lovely little baby blue t-shirt, I am asking myself, well, it'll go with navy blue trousers, it'll go with black trousers, but I'm not going to be able to wear this with browns or olives. Well, maybe I can. If I get the right shade of blue, maybe I can. But in general, I would have to say no. It's not going to be my top choice for brown or olive. Same thing with other colors, pink, red. Red is a big one. But yeah, so now when I start to look at filling the gaps, and I'm starting to look at the range of colors available to me, and out of choice, I will grant you, out of choice, I have a more narrow range because there is no purple in my wardrobe. Other than this sweatshirt, other than this, there's no gray in my wardrobe. I try to keep white out of my wardrobe because I know myself and I will get it dirty. Trust me, I will get it dirty. So I have self-imposed limits on this, but then again, I think most of us do. I think we put structure around our wardrobes, around our home decorating, around everything in our lives, based on what we like. If you love a certain color, you're going to favor it in your clothing, in your furnishings, in the knickknacks on your fireplace. You are going to favor a certain color. And if there is a color you just don't like, it's not going to show up. So I think we all add little self-imposed limits to everything, to our wardrobe, to our home decorating, to the things we enjoy looking at around our environment. So yeah, I'm trying to focus on this and narrow this down a little better. Yes, absolutely, I will admit this, and I know how crazy it makes me sound, but then again, I've never hesitated to share my crazy with you. Ideally, I would like to get that perfect capsule wardrobe. I would like everything to go with everything else, period. And would I be willing to sacrifice for that? Yes, I would. Would I be willing to wear nothing but black to get that? No. No, that's about where I draw the line. So I would not be willing to take all of the color out of my wardrobe in order to achieve that. And therefore, I've got to get a little more clever about it. And you folks, oh gosh, what a great resource you are, because you folks are looking at things from a different perspective, which is always very, very helpful. And your perspective has opened doors for me. Prior to you folks telling me that burgundy would work well in my wardrobe, I do not believe I had a single article of burgundy clothing. Not one. Interestingly enough, I have a burgundy handbag, I have burgundy shoes, but did I have like cloth clothing? No. I do now. I've actually got quite a lot of burgundy, all things considered, now. And the mustard yellow, I had one mustard yellow shirt. That was it. And now I am gradually working on that, throwing mustard yellow in there, which is wonderful. By the way, I would feel far too guilty if I kept this wonderful resource all to myself. So I want to throw this out to all of you. If you're going through the same thing, mention it in the comments, because that's where people have told me about their take on it, and that has made a huge difference. So for heaven's sake, feel free to use the comment section as your own personal stylist services, because we have some folks in our community who obviously have a very keen sense of style, but people outside of your box are going to have a different perspective on what your issue is, just as they did for me. I could not see those two colors. It's not like, well, like I say, I had one mustard yellow shirt, and I have a burgundy handbag, burgundy shoes, but I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I could not take that basic concept and extrapolate on it, but our community did, and I benefit from it. So yeah, if you have questions, throw it into the comments section, because as a group, this is a wonderful resource. Do not pass it up. Lord knows I don't. I think, honestly, I think you folks are fabulous. So thank you very much for expanding my wardrobe for me. But I'm now looking at this thinking, as I am doing this, I am working with colors that are not currently fashionable or currently trendy. Story of my life. When I was born, the year I was born, the biggest interior design color combination was green with either red or pink, which is basically the same color, just a difference in saturation. That was huge. Red and green. People's houses looked like Christmas trees. Well, not just people's houses, but the elegant, fancy houses in the decorating magazines looked like Christmas trees. That was so popular. It absolutely lost popularity relatively quickly, a couple of years, and then regained popularity in the 90s. I don't expect any of you to remember the year I was born, although some of you may. But most of us can remember the 90s, when the hot color combination in interior design was a dark forest or hunter green combined with a maroon or burgundy. There you go. And so we saw that color combination come back. I'm sure we'll see it come back again. No two ways around it. But it's interesting because right now, if you look at a color combination, red and green, I think your first thought is going to be, Lord, no. Things come and go in terms of style, and that includes colors and color combinations. In the 1980s, one of the hottest color combinations in the 1980s were very colorful, was black and yellow. We all looked like bumblebees. We really did. Another hot color combination was black and pink. Personally, I rather liked the black and teal. And when you look at this and think, yeah, that wouldn't wash today. Our tastes have taken a different turn. Thing is, the black and pink in particular was a carryover from the 1950s. Remember Elvis, black and pink? That was huge. So will these color combinations come back? Yes, absolutely. There are only just so many colors out there. Actually, there aren't. But despite the fact that there are infinite color combinations out there, and there are, technically speaking, the human eye can only process just so many of them effectively. And quite frankly, some color variations are so minute and subtle that we just don't recognize them as different. So our biology limits us in that sense. Our ability to perceive colors puts an automatic limitation on the number of colors we can recognize. So as long as it is a finite number, everything's going to come back. It will. And I think for most of us, we are influenced, even if we don't think we are or don't want to be. We are influenced by the trendy colors, by fashion designers we may never have heard of, who are just having a huge impact on the current design trends. I know I'm not only do I consider myself immune to that, absolutely immune, but I resent people telling me what colors I should be wearing and what colors I should like. And even then, yes, they have an impact on me. They influence my color choices. Because if it's not available, if it's not out in the market, how am I going to be able to buy it and put it in my wardrobe? So the great thing about that is the Gen Z generation, our little youngsters coming up, tend to want to go their own way, more so than any other generation. And I will throw the generation of the 60s in there, because even though we were rebellious and we said we were going to do our own thing, man, problem is we were all doing the same thing. It's like, yes, we rejected the uniform of our parents' generation. Why are you wearing a suit and tie? It's like you look like you were all cut out of dough by a cookie cutter. So did we. We didn't see it, but so did we. They had their uniform, we had ours. So yeah, the younger generation coming up now, Gen Z, they are starting to craft their own ideas of style. They are not as influenced by the fashion houses. They are not as influenced by what is available out, because so many of them are going into thrift stores, which is wonderful, and that's where they're finding their clothing, or they are taking existing garments and combining them in ways that I would have to say probably gives their parents nightmares, but they're combining it in ways that are very different. They're putting things together that traditionally did not match, that did not complement, that did not go together. And I think that's wonderful. By the way, if there are any of you Generation Z folks out there, thank you. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because you break the mold and the rest of us benefit from it. If you reject what the fashion industry is telling you you're supposed to look like, you're the generation they're marketing to. So your resistance just, like I said, benefits the rest of us. You go your own way, and that frees me to go my own way. Thank you. So, yeah, we need to be mindful of this. Now, I'm sure by now there are some of you saying, but Sue, you have a sewing machine. Yeah, I do. The problem is the designer color choice of the season takes over all aspects of the fashion world. It will take over clothing. It will take over interior decor. It will take over the automobile industry. It's like you go out and the color choice you have of a new car today is probably being dictated by the Paris Fashion Week last year. It's just the way it is. It's all encompassing, because we're all suffering from that whole small world phenomena of, well, the internet bringing us closer together. And we are seeing this sort of universal claw of fashion moving into everything else. So yes, it moves into yard goods. Why? Because the sellers of fabric by the yard, just like everybody else, they have to make sure that what they're selling will appeal to their buyers. And when the Paris runways are telling them that the new hip in trendy color is fuchsia, that's the color they're going to be marketing. Why? Because it makes good business sense. It hasn't always been that way. When I was young, in my teens, for example, even in my early 20s, yard goods were very much immune to the impact of the fashion industry. They would carry trendy prints, trendy colors, trendy patterns, but they would also carry a lot of traditional mainstays, and the reason why was because the largest chunk of their buying public was older women. It wasn't me in my teens or 20s, even though I was sewing. It was my mother, my grandmother, the many generations that came before us that were still with us and still sewing. So they have that built-in market. But things have changed, in part because my mother and my grandmother and any intervening generations are no longer with us, but because now we're all dealing with fast fashion one way or another. We're either buying it, turning our noses up to it, or in terms of yard goods, competing with it. So yeah, if I want to go out and look for a specific color or a specific print, if it doesn't happen to be a trendy one, my odds of finding it are pretty low, even right down to a certain shade of color. Odds are dropping. If I furthermore get picky and say, well, I would like this in a certain fabric, I would like it in linen, I would like it in cotton, I would like it in wool, whatever, odds are dropping even lower. So no, we are all impacted by whatever is trending at the moment. And it's hard to get away from that. So when we start looking at this, what are the trendy, fashionable colors? Yeah, we're all going to be stuck buying into that to some extent or another. And if we're not, if we don't buy into it, we're not going to be able to have clothing. It's just that simple. Sometimes the market is dictated by the manufacturer instead of the consumer. And for those of us who grew up in a market that was dictated by consumer needs, because even though we had less choice than we do today, we were more effective in asserting that choice. We were more willing to go to another store that did have what we wanted. So yeah, they tended to take us into consideration more. Now, nope. We are just, it's like we are the checkbook. We are not the individuals who are going to be wearing the clothing. We are simply the people from whom they are getting the money. So what they care about is our money. They don't care about our choices. They don't care about our preferences. They just don't care. And they don't need to. The simple reality is they can dictate our fashion. They can do it. So as long as they can, they will. And I think we're all, at least to some extent, subject to this. What are our options? Well, like I said, the Gen Z babies are going out to thrift stores. So yes, that is an option for us. Thrift stores. We can get things in color combinations that we remember from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, if we want, just by shopping the thrift stores, the secondhand market. The other thing we're learning from our Gen Z babies is we can put them together in interesting and different ways. We can do what they are doing. And, well, not exactly what they are doing, because remember, they're very young and they can get away with a lot more than older people can get away with. But we can take a page from their book at the very least and start thinking about making combinations of colors, of styles, of anything really. Trends, there's no reason why you can't wear a 1960s miniskirt with a 1980s big-shouldered jacket. You can do it. So, yeah, we need to start paying attention to that, and we need to start getting a little more flexible, not just in what we are buying and how we are buying it, but in how we are putting it together and wearing it. So that was what I wanted to share with you today. You did get some Audie time. I wasn't expecting that. For those of you who stay with us for Just Chatting, remember it's 8 o'clock New York City time, and that will be this evening. Also, remember, clocks change this weekend, so if you go looking for us at 8 o'clock and we're not there, could be because our clocks have changed and yours haven't. All right. I'm glad you were all with me today. So we're going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out, and in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.